One, two, one, two. What is up, everyone out there? Harry the Big Dog here, and this is the DJ interview. I am I am streaming from Twitch, from Periscope, from Twitter, from Facebook, and YouTube. Woo! We are getting this thing going. So I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome everybody from the replay. Everyone who's watching the replay. In the chat, put down where you're calling from, even where you're coming from, even if you're going from the replay. What state you're representing, put in the chat. So let's get this thing going. Right now, we have a DJ. He's been doing it for quite a while now. He is representing the 5 boroughs of New York City. Let's bring in and welcome DJ SM.
Hey, what's up, Harry?
How you doing today?
I'm well, brother. How are you?
I cannot complain.
Okay.
Oh man, how's everything out there where you live?
Everything is quiet. You know, I'm living in Long Island now. I grew up in Brooklyn, born and bred. Brooklyn, New York, capital of the world. I've been out in Long Island now 13 years. So it's different lifestyle on the island. Different lifestyle.
Yes, it is. Oh man, somebody put in the chat. If you can hear us or not, let us know. I know we can hear each other, but somebody put in the chat, let us know you can hear us. So what's the state out there doing? Is it becoming a hot spot, or it's still calm out there?
Well, right now the hot spots that we do have hot spots in Brooklyn and Queens, and actually the governor is shutting down schools tomorrow because these hot spots are popping up in certain zip codes in Brooklyn and Queens that's really spiking above. He was trying to keep it under 3%. These things are spiking above 3%, and now schools are going to be shut down, and possibly businesses. And it just recently in the city, restaurants were actually allowed to have indoor dining. Everything was outside. They just kind of opened up indoor dining at 25%, but that might be taken away. It's just to mask or not to mask. That's the question. And I don't see why that's so hard to understand. To protect ourselves and others, wear a mask. You know, it's not a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a little inconvenient, but I'd rather be inconvenienced than be sick. You know?
Hey, Chris, thanks for checking in. Can you hear us loud and clear, Chris? All right, so we're gonna start this now. So DJ SM, tell everybody your government name if you want, your how you got your DJ name, and when did you start in this DJ business?
Okay, well, my government name is Scott McKenzie. My DJ name has changed over the years. I started DJing 40 years ago. I was 17 at the time, and I had my love of music started way before DJing. I remember as a kid sitting with my father, and he had a big reel-to-reel tape deck, and I'm not sure if anyone might know what a reel-to-reel is that's listening now, but this was before tape decks. This was before 8 tracks. This was a big machine. You put a reel on one side, an empty one on the other side, and you tape it through, and you listen. And I used to sit there and listen to my father with the classics, the OJs, the Temptations, the Shy Lights, Otis Redding, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Eddie Kendricks, and I would sit there with him for hours and just listen to the music and jam with him. And I just had this. It was a sense of calm when I sat there and listened to all these great songs. So that kind of instilled in me then, this music thing is powerful and it could touch people. So maybe in my sophomore year in high school, I went to my grandmother and I asked her to buy me two turntables and a mixer. And she said, "What do you need that for?" I said, "Well, I want to play some music in the basement. We owned our own home. We had a nice finished basement, and I said, I want to play some music in the basement, and just kind of jam out. Well, I say jam out, but just have some good times." So we went down to this store. I don't know if anybody's listening from Brooklyn, but there was this store called Gem Electronics on Willoughby Street, right next to. At the time, it wasn't Verizon. It was the AT&T store and Petland discounts. And we went in there, and she bought me two Technique belt drives, B1s. I never forget those. This is before I bought my 1200s. So she bought me two B1s, a Gemini mixer, and some kind of Gemini speaker with a 15 and some white tweeters across the front of them, the old school. So I got those home, and I didn't have any records. I think I might have one album. I put on the turntable. I'm listening to it, and that's when it started. I went out, got a part-time job. All my money went to records. I mean, every dime I had, I was in the record store buying 2 copies of each single.
You remember that when we had to buy doubles of everything?
You had to buy doubles, and I used to go to Rock and Soul. Bates Records was at the foot of Williamsburg Bridge on the Manhattan side, right off of Delancey Street. Downstairs Records on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. Vinyl Mania in the city.
Yes.
It was just, I had to get 2 of each. And I remember just coming home. All I want to do was just go in the basement, and there was nothing like taking that vinyl, sliding your finger through that plastic and opening it up and pulling that new vinyl out and playing it for the first time and just, okay, I'm rocking with this right now. You know what? I'm rocking. So,
you didn't put it on your knee and rub it?
No, not the first time, but the second time I used to get it out and rub it on my shirt, make sure it was clean, and just put the music to the record and made it happen. So, but it was just again, it was nothing like having those 2 albums or those 2 records in your record crate, knowing where they were and being able to pull them out at any time and just rock out with them.
Yeah. Good times. Good times. Oh, man. I remember getting my albums, like you said, you spend all your money at the record store. I get them home, look for where the seal is, rub them on my knee, open the seal, and then get them on the tables for the first time. Some of them work, some of them don't.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you had to break the record in with your needles.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh man. So now what year we talking when you got your turntables?
So that was 40 years ago. So we're in 2020 now. So 40 years ago was 1980. 1980. My grandmother bought me because I graduated high school in 1981, and I'm telling you, I never forget it. I couldn't wait. Like my grandmother wasn't walking fast enough for us to get home, and I'm like, come on, grandma, let's go. I want to get home and try these out, and I got them, and I'm telling you, it was just like it was like Christmas during the summertime. It was. I mean, I was in the basement, and they would have to come downstairs. My mother and father had to come downstairs and tell me, turn that off, come upstairs, and go to bed. I guess that's how that's how we do our kids nowadays with the video games.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was something else, man.
But that's what we did when we was practicing. Just
Yep.
like you'd lose track of time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it was, and the guys at the record store, there was many DJs out there. But if you kind of knew the guy at the record store, he would put something aside for you, especially those white labels. Remember, I don't know if you remember those white labels.
Oh yeah.
They were only promotional copies. They weren't supposed to be sold, but the guy would hold them for you. And I said, they might cost a little bit extra, but they were worth it.
Yeah.
But
man, I remember them days.
yeah.
So, all right, so take us. You got your first turntables in 1980. Take us through the 80s, that whole decade from 80 to 90.
Okay, so I was me and a couple of guys had gotten together, and that's when rap kind of first started, coming out. And, we said, why not do a rap group? Of course, I'm the DJ and a couple of guys. So we, this is my actual. I've only had two DJ names. And my first DJ name, the name of our crew was the Phantom Zone Crew, Phantom Zone, and I was DJ Phantom. So, and
where was y'all based out of?
Brooklyn, New York.
Still in Brooklyn, okay.
Yep. I lived in Brooklyn until I moved out here 13 years ago. So we had a whole crew, and we would, it was more of us doing parties in the local community center or either in my basement.
Yeah.
My guys were, they were good on the mic, but it wasn't like, okay, let's try to turn this into a Run DMC type of thing, because we were just, again, starting out, wasn't really pushing to get to that level. But that was my first crew, the Phantom Zone crew. I was, like I said, DJ Phantom, and we did local parties, and then the hip hop, what they call now golden age, was really the music. Then was it was kind of telling a story, like with matter of fact, I lived down the block, I lived on Wyckoff Street, and 3 or 4 blocks down was what we call Wyckoff Gardens, and that's where Houdini grew up. I don't know if you remember the group Houdini.
Yeah.
Got a big mouth, and freaks come out at night. So I knew Houdini, and I would go hang out with those guys and go to parties with them, but it was not really, my guys were not really rolling with me like that. They were like, we don't want to, hang out all the time with, these guys. We don't, this hip hop thing might not make it. And lo and behold, hip hop has made it.
It's still in its infancy, I think.
Yes. So it was just, as the music came out, I collected it. I started really, really just getting into it and listening to the beats, and really my scratching, was something I wanted to be a perfectionist as, and I would spend hours in the basement scratching and backspinning and scratching and cutting. I wasn't doing the whole, scratching with the chin or backspin, but just making sure that it was
with your back,
right, turning around and spinning around, and it was it was a whole scene for me, just to be able to listen to all this good music growing up on. And the thing was, I would start to hear some of the music that I listened to with my father, I would start to hear some of that music being sampled into the hip hop world. I'm like, man, these guys are really doing a good thing. And again, my focus was really getting the music and throwing parties, not being the guy trying to go out and do shows because that wasn't me. I was want to get out and rock the crowd and break that new record and have people dancing and having a good time.
Yeah, we're gonna bring your newest partner in a few minutes. We just want to see hear a little bit more about your story. So now you're right. That's when people started sampling. So all the records you used to hear back in the day, playing the 45s and all, you start to hear them with beats over them.
Right. And it's funny. I listen to some of these DJs now, and I was doing it back then, but I really wasn't aware that it was something that would turn into what it was today. I would play the sample first and then rock in with the hip hop version. So I would rock James Brown, I Got Soul, and then come up with Eric B, I Got Soul. A lot of guys are doing it now as as a history lesson, but I listen to them on the radio or online. I'm like, it's good to hear because it brought me back to the days when I was playing like Otis Redding, and then whoever sampled Otis Redding at the time, I was just playing. And at first they would the people would look at me like, "What are you playing that for?" And I'm like, "Well, okay, watch what I play next." And they was like, "Oh, we see what you're doing. We see what you're doing." So that was a good thing.
Yeah, Jason is saying hip hop took sampling to a new level.
Yes, without a doubt. Without
a doubt, it went to a whole nother level with everything.
Yeah.
So now we're traveling down to the 90s now.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
I was actually still DJing. I actually did a couple of I was doing a lot of private parties for individuals that had house parties or even weddings. I never took a step back, but I was going out to clubs more often. And I remember there was one, I don't know, there was a roller skating ring in Brooklyn called Parkside Roller Skating Ring. And I went there one day my boy had called me and said, "Listen, I know the DJ there. He's looking for somebody to come and spend for a couple of hours and do." So I said, "All right, you know what? No big deal." He goes, "Well, listen, you can't, he's not really paying." I said, "No problem. I love music that much. I'll bring a couple of crates. I'll bring a couple of crates, but I'm not bringing out my whole
setup.
The whole thing." So I went out and I was in the booth watching these people skate and just playing all these beats that was De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Leaders of the New School, and they were like just jamming to that. Even someone like the dance music that like almost like the disco. It was a different vibe, and watching people kind of rock out. And then that whole 90s thing took me to a level of I wasn't really big on that gangster rap because it to me, I wanted people to feel the music and dance. So the 90s was to me a lot of LL Cool J, Run DMC, Tupac, some Snoop Dogg, Third Bass, just anything that people could just like dance to. Not so much. One of the clubs that I enjoyed going to was the Tunnel back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they played some New York rap that was hard. And I mean, like, fights used to break out over the music. And
a lot of people there.
Yeah. And it was just like a whole different scene. The music was still good. The music was, I think, 90s probably had the best genre of hip hop and R&B. And it just took it to as far as I was concerned, a different level of sampling came out. It came out a little bit harder. The beats were a little bit harder, and you could still dance to it and bop your head and have a good time. You know?
That's around the time when Bismarck got into all that trouble,
Yes,
sam-
yes,
sampling all the records.
yeah. A lot of guys were not getting clearance. They were not
Yep,
getting clearance, and they were making some good music, but you know, you got to go through the proper channels.
yep. And
Yeah,
then he came out with the all samples cleared.
yeah, yes, yep, yep. But the
So
'90s, it was good.
let's bring in your partner, DJ Vin B.
Okay.
Good
Vin,
evening.
can you
Good
hear
evening.
us?
Good evening.
You hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Loud
Okay,
and
good
clear. How
good
you doing
evening to you
today?
all. Good evening. Good evening.
Let me put some caption, some graphics on so we can see our names. So have you been DJing as long as your partner?
Well, somewhat there are some parallels there. I actually, like myself, with the love of music, goes back, many, many years. I too am 57, and generally around about the same time. Always had a
Y'all
penchant
old.
about a love
Oh,
for music, and and around that time too, like I said, very similar, parallel stories there. I myself wanted, turntables. I was mesmerized by going out in the park and seeing some of the guys play in the park. And at that time, I had attended aviation high school for a short time, and I had the privilege of going up to I resided in Brooklyn, and some of the cats from school had took me up to the Bronx, and I got a chance to see the Cold Crush Crew, Jungle Brothers, and those guys perform, flash at a large scale. And I went to Taft High School. I'll never forget. I went up to Taft High School and they played in a gymnasium in Taft High School, and they
Yep.
had speakers and monsters and birthers, and it was just the sound was just it was death defying, to see that, and to see the crowd move like that. It was something that I said that I wanted to do. Unfortunately, it was kind of short lived. I didn't take it to that next level and play for that long of a time. There was an absence of me playing music. Always had a love for music, so I started back playing music, many years later, with a friend of mine who has since passed on. We were talking, and, we got together after moving out here in New Jersey, taking it to the next level. We formed an LLC, formed a company, and we started, playing a few parties. Then it was the big crave with My Sweet 16. That era, that time came out. We started doing a
Right.
few parties, like Sweet 16 parties that were actually at the cost of some budgets for some weddings. The money was fast. It gave us an opportunity to incorporate ourselves and purchase, newer, better equipment. Some of the equipment that I can honestly say that I still have to this day. So,
Nice.
he has since passed on, and then there was a period of time where, I couldn't hear the music anymore. He died at a very early age. It was sudden. He died of a heart attack, and it kind of took me aback for a period of time. And then, my partner Scott and I, my fraternal brother, we started collaborating and talking, and him being an independent and music head from way back when, and we just started collaborating. One of the things that I admire and love about Scott is that he's an audiophile. You see a lot of these DJs that come out and they play, and they just, it's a lot of noise. I hate to say it, it's a lot of noise, and I was really, really appreciative of hooking up and collaborating with Scott because of, the penchant of the music and, just the level of music, how he plays the music, how he records his sets, how he scans and brings in his music, even his particular hard drive, how he's a particular audiophile for taking everything that he has and just taking that music and making sure that, the audio is precise and is clear, and he gives that every production, every party that I actually said that I had the privilege of coming out and hosting and playing alongside of him. It was a party that, he has this motto that people remember the music. You can go many places and you can go to a wedding and they had maybe had a very beautiful bridal affair and things were great, but you remember the music. How many times
Right.
have you gone out and gone places and you said, "Oh, the party was nice. You know, this was good," but everyone remembers the music. And I think
Right.
that's what's lost today. You know, a lot of DJs not being able to play to the crowd and be able to bring out that party. So it's been a privilege and an honor to play with them. And I'm glad that, you know, I've had the opportunity to hook back up with them. Now the love of music is back, and I think it's here to stay.
Nice. We
Yeah.
got a question. We got a question from Jason. He's saying, how, as a DJ back in the day, did you handle the security to make sure that you made it back with all your equipment and all your crates? We had peoples with us. That's how.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had I grew up, I grew up in a private house with mother, father, grandmother, grandfather. But my friends lived around the corner in Gowanus Projects, and they were goons, so to speak. So yeah, we didn't go out alone. We had guys. We loaded up the truck, the car, and we made sure there was no issues. And guess what? We made it to the party. We rocked out the party. We got paid, and we came home. And that's all that mattered. There's never been an incident where somebody said, "Okay, you know what? You're not taking." I had a guy once in the DJ booth. The DJ tried to take one of my and I remember it was Liquid Caravan
Oh, okay.
before it really got hot, and I played, and he was like, and all of a sudden I see I turn around and put it in. I put it in the crate and I push it down. And he's kind of, "Oh man, that was a hot song. Well, what was it?" I said, "This right here, Caravan." I showed it to him. So I get back to the mix. Next thing I know, the whole the cover's in there, but the record's not in there. I'm like, "Come on, my man, come on." So luckily, I had two guys at the bottom of the stairs, and they're like, if he did have it or wherever he had it, he wasn't getting past them, but it made it back into the jacket that it belonged to. But that was the day.
Somehow, right?
That's the worst I've ever had to deal with. But yeah, we had people with us all the time. I just want to say one thing about Bracy that he mentioned. My my me trying to get this perfected sound came from one club, and Bracy could attest to this. I went to the Paradise Garage one night, and I can tell you right now, I have been striving since that day to get my sound system to sound like that sound system.
Oh,
You and when I had stopped DJing for a while because I got carrying these records around, and when I found out that the technology had kind of made it a smaller footprint, and I decided to go back out and buy equipment, and I went out and bought these Sherwin Vegas earthquake bottoms with these JBLs with 215s and some tweeters. And my wife said to me, "Why do you need that?" I says, "You know why I need that? Because the sound is really what's going to make a party." And then when I say at the Paradise Garage, you could have played Fingernails on a chalkboard and you would have danced because the sound system there was second. I mean, there's no other sound system like that. And that was why, my sound system, I have a drive rack, I have a sound processor, I run it through amplifiers. Now I have all powered speakers, but at the time I ran it through. I had one amplifier for the bottom, one amplifier for the mids, and one amplifier for the highs. And I ran them all separate frequencies, and I tried to get the best. I mean, when that bass hit you, you felt it, or when Aretha Franklin hit that high note, you heard it. So Gracie
yes,
knows that, man. I
yes.
was big on sound, man.
You went home like you was holding your ears the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
that we can credit. Long live Richard Long. Richard Long was the actual creator of that sound
yeah,
system in the Paradise Garage and many other clubs and studios. He actually patent that sound. But Larry Levan, when he got on those tables in the garage,
Mm.
it was magic. It was
Yeah,
magic.
yeah.
It was magic.
That
Yes.
that that was some. I remember I was at that club one night, and the crowd was just rocking, and um, unfortunately, he used to drink and get high and take drugs. And I remember one night the song was playing. All he didn't even mix the song. He picked up the needle, stopped the music, and put it back at the beginning, and the crowd just went wild. There was no mixing. He just picked the needle off the vinyl and put it back at the beginning, and the crowd went wild. I'm like,
Yes.
who does that except Larry Levan? I couldn't do that. I could not.
Oh man, you probably get booed off.
Yeah, but it was that I've been to a lot of clubs in my life in the city, and that sound system there was, I mean, golden.
Yes.
Now, what
Yes.
I heard from the grapevine is the Cold Crush Brothers. They have a battle system. Now, I haven't heard it or anything, but next time I'm in the Bronx and they're out there doing some type of battle, I want to hear this.
Okay.
Wow.
If there's
Wow.
anybody listening and they know about Cold Crush's battle system, let us know in the chat. But
Yeah,
when I heard that, I'm like, a battle system?
yeah. I remember going to the Bronx, like Bracy said. I remember going to the Bronx, and watching and listen to these guys. I mean, they had stacks and stacks and stacks of
Stacks.
speakers
Stacks.
and running all kind of electricity from the street lamps because you couldn't nobody was really rocking with generators, but uh,
It was
and
all street
the
land.
sound was great, but it carried. But imagine in that sound being designed acoustically in a building, and just
Mm,
it's just amazing, amazing.
mm, mm.
Yes.
So
Amazing.
now, if I heard correctly, you both of you guys either took a break or you just stopped DJing.
Well,
But
yes.
was it a break
Myself,
or you
yes.
like quit? Like, yo, I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah,
Myself. Yeah, myself. I had a hiatus. There was a pretty period of time, a long period of time where life itself, took its course, and I stopped the music, and then I had played back. I came back. I started playing. We incorporated in 90. I would say in 90. I think it was 89, 80, 89. I came out. We incorporated my company with my partner, and we were doing well. Things were we were taking off in New Jersey. We were picking up gigs, and he passed away. Like I said, he passed away suddenly, and at that particular point in time, I stopped playing. I took it back and just wasn't playing anymore, and hadn't really started playing until I hooked back up with Scott. And then I hooked up with Scott, and then got back into the music.
Well, how many years are we talking?
Oof. For me, there was a long period of time where I didn't play any music. I say a long period of time where I would say was probably about 14 years. I didn't play any music.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't play any music. And then it was a period of time where I played, and I was out of the scene from playing music for about 2.5, 3 years.
yeah. I had stopped. I had stopped because I just couldn't carry any more records. I could have, but I didn't want to. Carrying a minimum of 20, 23, 25 crates of records. I'm not. When I stopped, I wasn't a young guy. I was in my maybe late 30s,
Okay.
early 40s, and I'm
That,
like, not only did you have to carry crates, but you also had to carry all the equipment.
your
And
amp, your speakers.
I mean everything. And I remember I had stopped, and my wife is a Delta, and one of her sorority at the time was having a party in Brooklyn, and we went to it was the in Williamsburg. I forgot the name of the location, but the DJ was not good. And I walked over there. I wanted to walk. I walked over there to see what he was doing, and I'm like, wait a minute. I don't see any records. You know, how is he playing without records? Then I look. I see him putting these CDs in.
Yo,
DJ.
CDJs, huh?
You know, I know them as CDJs now, but I don't know what they were then.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so you can do that, and I'm like, all right. I'm thinking. So on that night on the way home, I talked to my wife. I said, you know what? Maybe I should get back in the DJ because it seems like I wouldn't have to carry a lot of crates anymore. She said, you know what? You know, if that's what you feel, because she knew me she met me as a DJ, and she said, well, if that's what you feel, I said, yeah, okay. I did some research. I went out and bought 2 Denon CD players, a mixer. I went out and bought those. The mistake that I did was I didn't do enough research, and me being the old school guy, I was a little bit leery about these powered speakers. So I went out and bought analog. I went out and bought 2 Sherwin Vega 18-inch folded horn earthquake speakers, and these JBL 555s with 2 15-inch woofers and one tweeter in the top. And now that's old school because nobody was rocking Sherwin Vegas.
For
And
real.
I didn't know
I
the
don't even
first.
know if people know what Sherwin Vegas are anymore.
Now, those folded horns were no joke. And I went out to my lodge. You know, Gracie and I are Freemasons, and my lodge was having a party that night, and it was at Rose Castle in Brooklyn. We had the main ballroom, which holds about 600 people. It was a full house, and I'm jamming, I'm rocking, and somehow there was another party going on, and people were coming in from the other party. And I tell you right now, the floor in that building was vibrating. I mean, you could feel the floor moving up and down to the point where when we went, after that party was over, we wanted to book that location next year. And the owners of that place says, yeah, but we're going to raise your price. We were like, why? Because we see how many people you had and how much money you made. Like, what are you talking about? How are you counting our money? We just, people, we couldn't control people coming in from another.
Right.
But I guess my point is, I went out and bought these powerful speakers just so I can do parties like that again. And that's when I started back. You know what? I'm back, and I started doing more research. I went from CD players. Bracy introduced me to the Pioneer SZ, which is the big controller, which is more like the turntables.
Yeah.
I picked that up. I started getting all my music together, and I went from carrying 25, 30 crates to this little device right here with 100,000 songs on it. So I've got 100,000 songs on this device here that I can go to a reggae party. I can go to a Sweet 16. Gracie and I have done a party for elementary school, young white kids. We rocked it. So we went from carrying 25 crates to a $200 SSD hard drive with 100,000 songs that's not even half full. This thing is not even half full. So the other day somebody asked me, how long do I think I'll be DJing? I said, as long as people will hire me, So there's no end for me.
So now you started at the CDJs. What year was that? Because I know the CDJs were late 90s, early 2000s when they came around, and a lot of people, they came and went.
Right.
So
I Gracie had those before I did.
Yeah,
I had Denons.
I had the Denons also. There was a little evolution with me when I had the Denons, and I did 2 sets of the Denons.
you sound like your sound got lower.
Okay, let me see if I can just increase this here. Let me see here. Uh,
Say something.
okay, how about now? Is that better?
Better.
Let me see. About now? Let's see if I
It
can.
went down a little bit.
Yeah.
How about now? Is that better? Is that
Go
better?
ahead. Say something.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
It's better than it was.
Okay. I'm going to see. Fortunately, I wasn't able to connect via my Mac, so I'm actually on my iPad.
Okay.
And I guess that is limited. It also tells me that it is somewhat limited in itself. But yes, there was an evolution of. I did a couple of sets of DIN. I had also the DNS. Scott and I had the same Denon controller at one point in time, and then prior to that I had the mini CDJ. I can't actually recall the model, but they were the small Denon, smaller models, the independent models, and then I went on with their larger controller. Also, at that particular time, I remember incorporating with Rane. At the time we purchased one of the first. Rane had one of the first mixers that incorporated Serato into the mixer, and that was one of the Rane mixers that I purchased, and that was great because now, as opposed to the earlier CDJs, I was playing Serato with the controllers. Serato actually had the controllers. They were like CDs that had to be inserted into the CDJs in
Yeah.
order to pick up the signals, similar to the time codes that are used on the turntables. I also too have. I had told Scott a couple of years back ago. I was fortunate enough to purchase some 1200s. I purchased some 1200s from a young lady up out of Connecticut, and I sent them off to this gentleman by the name of DJ Henry. You can check him out on. You'll find him on eBay. This is a gentleman that has about maybe 25, 30 years of extensive experience, who's worked with Technics, and he's known for reconditioning and also modifying a lot of the turntables that some of the big
Really.
stars are using today. So his name is. I sent him out to California, and he recalibrated the turntables for them for me. Recalibrated them. In addition to that, put in new strobes for me. He grounded them, internally grounded them. Gold monster cables now I have on them. So now, I mean, these turntables, these 1200s were like, brand new tables. They were actually reworked. And at that particular time, I had purchased a Rane mixer. I don't remember offhand which one of the models there was. I think it was the 62. I purchased a Rane 62
Okay.
mixer for the turntables. And I got back into the controllers. I mean, having played, with the controllers for a period of time, and then going back to the turntables, I don't have to tell you, all of us that played vinyl, we know that, it's a difference than playing with the controllers. So
It
I
is.
felt as though that I wanted to get back with the controllers because I was losing, to me, I was losing the integrity of the music with the time codes. It was just, to me, I was still picking up distortion. To me, the sound wasn't. Using the Pioneer controllers today with the heavy duty AD converters that they have, the 96 kilohertz and the AD converters, you reproduce a sound that's pretty much almost natural to CD quality, when you're playing back, and especially when you're playing at a very, very large, at a large volume. So you really want to be able to reproduce and have that great sound. I felt as though, to me, that I was losing that with the turntables. And that was one of the major reasons why I went back with the controller and stayed with the
Okay.
controllers. So there was an evolution of two Denons, and then I went with the Pioneer, the SZ model, as well as I also have, Scott has a mini Pioneer unit too that he uses for his podcast. And it's very remote, small, compatible little unit that you can take out when you're doing like backyard barbecue gigs.
Right.
The SB2, I play with that unit as well too, the SB2. But I like the Pioneer equipment. I feel as though that they've pretty much kind of cornered the market in terms of the controllers. But yes, to answer your question, that was like around, I would say, the late 2000s. For me, my first purchase of the controllers was around 2000. Around in the 2000s were the Denon series. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So when did you guys make the full switch over to digital with a Serato, because I know you went to the CDJs, and Serato, I believe they came out around 2004, 2006.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I went full Serato. I think the first year it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I hear a
Serato
lot of
line.
guys. I hear a lot of guys knocking Serato or technology, and I'll tell you this much: if it wasn't for technology, I wouldn't be DJing right now because, again, I can't. I'm not looking to carry records and crates and just go out with a big footprint. So, um, I'm a big PC user. I use only PC on my with my Serato, and again, if it wasn't for the fact that it switched over to this whole digital thing, again, even with I I just recently within the last 5 years purchased powered speakers. I was still rolling with the Crown amps and the Sherwin Vegas and the analog speakers. So about 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, I said, you know what? These powered speakers are a little bit lighter. The sound is just almost as good, and I can take out maybe two tops and one bottom and still rock maybe a medium crowd. Um, One of the things that kind of always bothered me when I talk to some DJs about, oh man, if you're not rocking vinyl, you're not really DJing. I'm like, well, you know what? Here's the deal. The last time I was at a party and somebody came to me and said, man, your vinyl sounds good was never. That's never happened. Never. I mean, the party, you're playing digital, it doesn't sound good. It's never happened. So people are out there to hear good music and party and go home. Nobody's ever stopped and say, "Yo, DJ, are you playing vinyl or CDs?" Never happened. So uh, vinyl is good, but I don't knock anybody that's if you want to rock vinyl, go ahead. If you want to be digital, now I do have a problem with a guy going out with an iPad and two speakers and saying, "Yeah, I'm a DJ." No, that's not. No, you're an iPad player. But
Yeah, I've ran into a lot of them.
yeah, full DJ, and again, Bracy has a couple of different setups. I have two or three different setups in my garage. I've got two and not a lot. There's not a lot of DJ that rolls with these speakers, but they're FBT. They're Italian speakers. These speakers they are fantastic. I got the two 18-inch bottoms and two 15-inch tops. And if I tell you, you can do a 400 people party with one bottom and just two tops, and it still rocks. I just bought these last year. I bought the EV, came out with the line array, the EV Evolve 50s.
Yeah.
Those are nice. I picked those up for smaller parties. So between Bracy and myself, we can go out and do a Howard homecoming, or we can go in the backyard and have a barbecue tomorrow. So, we've spent a lot of money. We've taken a lot of pride in this art of DJing. We're no better than anybody else, but my heart and soul has been into it for forever. And even when I reconnected not reconnected, but when Bracy and I hooked up, we had the same passion about, let's go out and rock this party and have a good time and have people use us again. And like Bracy said, on my business card, my motto is people remember the music, because if I've been to countless weddings and I don't remember what I had, but I know if I danced all night or if I sat there and I criticized the DJ. So people will remember the music either way,
Right.
good or bad, good or bad.
Right.
So
Go ahead.
That's true. I ditto to that. I think that's so important. You can't go anywhere and not have a good time if the DJ isn't good. You can't if you're at a party. The DJ has to be the one to set that tone, has to set the party. The ambience can be great. The setting could be great, but you can be sitting down looking at it, or
Yeah.
you can be up enjoying yourself.
Not even chair dancing.
Right.
Right, right, right. So it's one of those things that's so important. But yes, I've always been a big fan of the powered speakers myself, just for mobility, transportation mobility, as a portable DJ. I just couldn't see myself, coming with carrying the amplifier racks along with the speakers. I mean, you know, and that's still debatable to me in terms of where you want to hear the sound. We all know that if you're listening to a Birch cabinet, that's playing, with some Class A amplification, you're going to hear it. But now let's be realistic. How many times have you gone to a party and you've heard, something where you are that critical to listen to the music, where you're saying to yourself, I would think this music would sound a little better in a Birch cabinet as opposed to a laminated cabinet, that has,
Right.
powered speakers. No one's actually, you're not listening to it at that level,
Uh,
but I'm
not
a
not
Yorkville guy.
many.
I'm a Yorkville guy. I've always been a Yorkville guy. I have a couple of different setups of the Yorkville. I think that they make an excellent speaker for the money, for the price point, and I've had them for a course of years, and they've been just workhorses. They just play, play, play.
Mm,
So I'm pretty much sold on the product.
nice.
I just want to say one thing, and I guess it's still on the topic of DJing. I I like what Harry Harry's idea. And my question is to Harry is, what made you want to do this whole DJ interview? Because again, I know you and I have talked on the phone a couple of times. You're like, this is more like to spotlight the local DJ, not the celebrity DJ. But is that something that you've always wanted to do? Like, let's give a little light to the local guys that's out there rocking the party. They're not celebrity DJs or name brand DJs. So, I really think that was a good idea. I'm just trying to get your thought process on
Yes.
how to come up with that idea.
My thought process. You put me on the spot on my own show.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that.
No, but my thought process was to give the DJ some words. Most of the time, the DJ is in the back, and although you hear the music, you don't even know who playing, depending
Right.
on where you are.
Okay.
Now, you guys had setups where you're probably ground level, but what about that DJ in the booth that nobody ever seen,
Right.
but you know the music? And I wanted to give the spotlight to the DJ. They were it back in the day. The MC, no disrespect to them, but the MC was the one that was, hey, the gray car, you left your lights on. The bathrooms are this way.
Okay.
And I wanted to give some light to the DJ because they are the most, I think they're the most underrated function of the music playing. Now, music, like you said, somebody comes in with an iPad and some speakers, and you're a DJ. Ah, no, come on.
No.
Without the good music, without the DJ, there is no real music. It's like playing a radio station and then
Absolutely.
listening to a herpes commercial after that.
Right.
Right,
Right.
right, right. You're right. You're right. And so that's so very important too. And I think too that when customers are hiring the DJ, I know that it's very important because I did a lot of weddings, and one of the things that I always wanted to do with my clients was that I wanted to make sure that I had their music. So I would, give them, have them bombard me with a large list of what they want to hear. Even if it's a 4 hour, 5 hour gig, I want them to give me 6, 7 hours of music so that I can get a general idea of what they want to play. But
Yeah.
also, I have to also let them know this, that you have to allow me the leverage and the latitude to do what I do. So please don't expect me to be your iPod to have me play every song that you put on the list. And that's one of the big things, is because you've got to let me do what I do and get this crowd. Because if this is what your crowd wants to hear, this generalization of the music, I like to tell people, Scott and I have a very eclectic collection of music. We can handle any party from ABBA to ZZ Top and all in between. Very eclectic when it comes to music. We cover it. So that's not an issue. But my thing is that I know that if you want a little bachata or merengue, these are the things that you want to hear, then allow me to do what I do with the music, and you will be happy. But if you're coming over to me, that's one of the big problems sometimes too, that the DJ experiences, that, you have the customer or the client coming over to you and they're telling you, well, play this song, play this song, play this song. Then you don't want a DJ. You just can have an iPad.
Right.
You can have an iPad and just allow the iPad
or a laptop.
or laptop to let it play. But if you want the DJ to play, because sometimes you have to understand, the mechanics of playing the DJ. I'm at a certain BPM or a tempo. I just can't put on your song, because if I've got the floor rocking and you've got a song that's going to take me down and drop me, I can't just incorporate that song right now.
They're not going to look at them. They're going to look at you.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's one of the things too that, and it's good that, I like your format. I like what you have here, your forum, because it gives the opportunity for the DJ, as you state, to have a voice. And those are some of the things too that I think that are important. Sometimes, you have that with the client, and I've had situations where, I had a client family member come back because I didn't play the record at the request at the time. So they went back and told a family member, the DJ isn't playing the record that, we asked for. The DJ isn't playing the record that we asked for. So then at the end of the night, it was brought up to my attention, and I asked him, I said, well, let me ask you this. If you were to poll the people that were present tonight, a general consensus, did everybody have a good time? And she said, yes, I think everybody had a good time. I said, so if everyone had a good time, then I think I did what I set out to do. I think I accomplished my mission, was to come provide you a party where everybody can have a good time. So now, please don't be upset because I didn't play the song that your daughter wanted to hear in the process of me having everybody having a good time.
You're right. You're right.
And I don't want to be bad mouthed because, you're saying because, I had the DJ, but they didn't play my music. Well, you know what? Sometimes your music is for you, but what about the crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a problem. You know what another problem is now with DJing? That the music is coming out too fast. Every time you turn around, there's a new song. It's not like back in the day when when a nice R&B or hip hop song came out, you was able to rock with that. Now, I mean, today, Afrobeat is hot. Tomorrow is back to R&B. Neo's got a new song out. Then the next day, Drake is coming out with a new song. It's not like back in the day when you had "Baby I'm Scared of You" by Womack and Womack. You could, that was the song. There was no, oh, I gotta get the next song now. I mean, it's just, I belong to 3 different record pools. I pay every month for 3 different record pools, and I can't keep up with the music that is coming out. Some of it is good, some of it is not so good, but you gotta have it. One thing I try to pride myself on, and I believe Gracie also, is we don't want to be the DJs that say, oh, we don't have that song, especially an old song.
But SM, that's how it was back in the day. You couldn't possibly have every record because everything didn't come on vinyl. Right. So if somebody asked for it, or especially if the radio got it first, and they wasn't selling in the stores, it ain't like now where you can go anywhere or somewhere and download it. Yeah, a record pool or other places. But now it's like offensive. But at the same time, it's easy because you are able to download that song if given enough time.
Right.
And then these songs get they're hot today, and then next week, oh man, you playing that old song? We don't want to hear that old song. We want to hear something new. I'm like, man,
It's tough.
it's
Yeah.
nonstop.
It's
It's
just,
nonstop.
That's how the social media is.
mhm.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
So you guys, SM, you didn't say how long you took a break for.
I took a break for maybe 10 to 12 years.
Wow.
I took a break. It might have been more like 10 years. Uh, Again, it was just a matter of it was too much to carry, and especially with my again, I wasn't hooked up with Bracy at the time, but the guys that I was rolling with now, they were not up to going out to parties, and when we were doing it as teenagers, everybody wanted to be down with the DJ. That's how they got into the party for free. I'm with the
Yep.
DJ. Now, when as more as an adult, it was like, you know what, we got our own families now, and you know what, I just don't feel like going out. So instead of me worrying about carrying records or maybe going out and not coming home with all my equipment, let me just take a break and
Yeah.
call it a day. And it was I didn't turn my back on the music because obviously I love music. I was on top of the songs, but it was just no DJing. And that the bad part about that was all the music that came out during the time I took a break. I had to go and get. I wasn't buying records. I wasn't buying music. I had to go back and do all the research for the hottest songs during this time period or this time period, and
Yeah.
maybe hopefully one of my record pools that I belong to has it, or even when I stopped DJing, some of the records that I had to go and get the vinyl and put it on and convert it to MP3. So I had to spend a lot of time doing that. So, but again, I got back into it after about 10 or 12 years, and the rest is history. Technology has allowed me to continue today. I had a couple of I had a party a couple of weeks ago at a 50th birthday party outside. I did a Zoom party for a family reunion. I got a kids Halloween party coming up on the 31st on Zoom. So
It's still
it's not going out and rocking the crowd, but
right.
it's keeping me in the game. Again, I have my own podcast. I do my podcast. So I stay active. Bracy stays active. I'm not gonna let this get away again. From me this time. It was. It was. I'm not gonna say it was the end of the world, but it was a part that was missing. DJing, getting behind those turntables, and the funny thing was, years ago, before I met my wife, one of my girlfriends said to me, "You're a DJ because you're a control freak," and I said, "What? What are you talking about?" So after I broke up with her that night, I thought about it. And,
Don't talk about me about music.
right? I'm like, maybe she's right, because what does the DJ do? He controls the crowd, and what better way to have some control? And to me, it wasn't control of people, but it's making people feel a certain way. Playing a song and sparking somebody's emotions for some good times was something I wanted to do. What better feeling when somebody turn around and say, "Yo, TJ, that was my joint," and they rocking out there. So I'm not a control freak, but I was actually looking to make some people feel good for a few hours. But it's in my blood. It's in our blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here to stay. Here to stay. Yes, indeed.
I hear you. So now, we're starting to wrap this up, but I wanna ask y'all: did this virus affect y'all in a major way? Because
Well,
I know some people just their careers ended.
I'm grateful and I thank God that I have that I'm gainfully employed and that I didn't have to rely on this to earn a living. And I'm grateful for that because if so, I would be in trouble. I
Right.
can tell you that if this was my main source of income to provide for me and my family during these COVID times right now, I would be in trouble. I have a penchant and a love for music, and I said to myself, I always tell Scott, I says, right now, the love that I have for it, I'll play uh, pretty much almost for free. I'll play for me, But right now, I truly believe that everyone felt it in terms of that was out, DJing for clubs and parties and affairs. But I truly believe that we'll be back. That this day, it'll come back. And I think that it's important that you stay relevant. Stay on your grind and be ready for when it does come back. But we will see it again. We will see those days again. But it has been tough. We were just getting out there and doing our thing, and as a result of it, like everyone else, it's pretty much been a shutdown. I mean, we can't have anywhere where we can come together at a social place to
Right.
play music. So that has a major effect on a DJ in terms of a social being. Any place that we go to, but it's coming back. It's coming back, and I truly believe that we'll be back, and I think we'll be ready for it when it comes.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. If it wasn't, I know a couple of DJs that DJ was their livelihood. They
Right.
had,
Dude.
Gracie has a DJ company. I have a DJ company that's actually, we're in, we were throwing events, parties. I with this whole COVID thing, if my livelihood depended on DJing and weddings and sweet 16s, then I too would be in trouble. Um, DJing is not a hobby for me. I can speak for Bracy. I don't think it's a hobby for him either. But because the amount of money that we spent, you don't spend that kind of money on hobbies. But
That's
this
true.
COVID thing with the catering halls shutting down and locations shutting down, it's hit the catering halls hard. It's hit the DJs hard. It's hit the record pools hard because DJs are no longer have a need for music because they're not playing anywhere. But thank God that I do have a regular 9 to 5. Even even before this COVID thing started, I actually had to turn down parties because I couldn't DJ on the weekdays. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning to get to work, and I've tried a couple of Sunday night parties, and I didn't make it to work on Monday. So thank God that this my regular livelihood is what we live off of.
Yeah.
As Gracie just said, we would almost, I'm gonna say it again, almost play for free.
Right,
right. I told my wife, the only people I play for free is if their last name is McKenzie or their last name is Obama. But everybody else got to pay a little something. You got to pay a little bit.
Gotta pay a little, right?
I hear that.
Something, man, But it's this whole COVID thing is just it's a mess, and it's unfortunate. It's not only the DJ business. Restaurants are closing.
Sure.
Mom and pop stores are going out of business. But
And
it's
some
just
of them unfortunately won't be back because
no, they won't.
it's been too long and
Right.
they couldn't sustain. So it's a lot of things going out there. But I brought that up to say, the streaming thing. What did you guys think about people streaming on Facebook and Instagram and all of them? I get it. I just,
You
you guys tell me.
the streaming thing. I'm for it. And just to go back to COVID thing. Um, Back in May when this COVID thing was really hot and heavy, I Bracy and I belong to this organization that's about charity, and I did a 24-hour DJ thon. I DJ'd for 24 hours live on Facebook to raise money for the Food Bank of New York. So I put that out there. I posted it out there, and Friday at 7 p.m. till Saturday 7 p.m. I DJ'd. And the thing that bothered me was that Facebook had a problem with that. I was cut off. I was shut down. I had to restart, and I don't see the issue with streaming, live streaming. Okay, we understand that there's royalties, but guess what? We pay for our music. I paid for the music that I own. I didn't download from an illegal download site. I didn't go to YouTube and burn off YouTube. I paid every month religiously to get my music. So what is the big deal on streaming live on Facebook or Instagram or whatever? I just don't understand it. Now, okay, the artists want to scream about we're not getting paid. So what should you be getting paid if you want to get paid?
See, outside of that, Facebook don't have a drug deal with the publishing companies. So the publishing companies come on them, and they come on y'all.
Right,
But there are places you can go. You got your Mixcloud. You have to pay for it, of course,
right,
but they're compensating everything so you can play freely. They're compensating, ASCAP, BMI, and that other one nobody remembers.
yeah,
They're compensating them, and like I said, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, they don't have the deals in place. And I'm one of them. Like I wouldn't want to do it because of the getting cut off. That's a
yeah,
buzzkill. Like driving and then you hit traffic. It's a trip
right,
killer. I get it. It did perk people up, but you may have to look at it from their point of view too. I'm
right, right,
sure if the publishing companies didn't get on them, they probably would have left everybody alone.
right.
But
Okay,
now you're getting threatened to be sued because it's on your platform.
right. So, like with Mixcloud, I have a Mixcloud pro page, so I can go live on Mixcloud. But now my followers are on Facebook, so now I got to explain to them, come over to Mixcloud, and how many of them are really going to do it? How many are really going to? You know what? I don't need. My thing is Facebook, or my thing is Instagram. And you're right. I can understand the publishing company saying, okay, we own the rights to these songs, but what harm is it doing? Are we, on the flip side, are we taking money out of someone's pocket? Okay, I understand the publishing rights and the copyrights, but especially now when things really got bad with this whole COVID, people found. I tell you one thing. I went to a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and one of the older gentlemen there was talking to me, Brother Spencer, and Brother Bracy knows him. Brother Leroy, this guy named Leroy Spencer, said to me, Scott, I really appreciate you going live because it gave me and some of my friends. Now this is an older gentleman. 70s or 80s. He goes, it gave us a sense of calmness when we listened to you play your music. Meaning, it was just, we can't go outside, we can't do anything. So I got this guy playing music without any interruptions, and it brought some happiness to their lives, he said. So
And that's where I agree with it. but you know, you got to play on
their rules.
in by their rules in their playground.
Gotcha.
Well, you know, I hear that, and the flip side to that, Harry, I would be willing to say, why don't they try to work out something with the publishing companies and reach out to the DJs and say, listen, at a large scale, if you want to be a DJ and go live, you pay a small portion to go live. And you know, I'm with Scott because what will happen is, though, sure, we have those outlets such as Mixcloud, but you don't have your following. So your people on Mixcloud are going to be very limited to the people that are in your industry, as opposed to having your Facebook people, which are your extended, unique family, right? So that if they were to incorporate a small premium, very small premium, that can be scaled across the board, where all of the DJs would be paying a small monthly premium to go live for maybe an hour or two or something like that. This way, the publishers, they can incorporate something where the publishers would see something. I mean, the same way that Mixcloud was able to work out a deal with them so that you can use their platform, Facebook and Instagram they're large enough and they have the viewership that they should be able to do that as well.
Why they don't?
Right.
You know, you're not the first one that's saying something like that, but for whatever reason. So my thing, playing devil's advocate, because I've had these conversations with many people, is you have to bring your crowd to where you go.
Yeah.
Just like they would follow you from party to party or from club to club. You know, now you got to do it from platform to platform.
True.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
And I believe some people would follow on that.
You'll get a whole new crowd too.
True.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's my devil's advocate thing.
Okay.
You know, I'm
Well
all for the music. I'm just, you know, you don't come in somebody else's house and act up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what I'm not for. And you know, apparently they don't want to do a drug deal with the publishing companies, so it's not going to happen. So now you got to take your marbles and jacks and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Play where you're welcome.
Right. Play where you're welcome.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, hopefully a portion of your people will come to you or follow you there. I mean, it's free to join Mixcloud,
Right.
but stream, you know, there's a fee. And you're talking about $15 right now. When they start getting a little bit larger, that price is going to start going up, and people are still going to pay it to DJ freely, to still let other people hear it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Again, like I said, you know, I do have a Mixcloud Pro account. I have not tried to go live on there yet. I might try it and see how it works out, but
yeah, I didn't get a chance to do it, but I'm gonna start doing my DJ interviews on Mixcloud.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get an account so I can start streaming there too.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we can have an after party, because I can cut off Facebook and every other platform and just leave Mixcloud up.
Nice, that's nice.
And then so you know, a DJ like y'all could actually DJ and let people hear how you play.
Right.
Get a 15-20 minute set in.
Nice. That's nice.
At the end of an interview. I think that's nice. Or you know, a lounge time. You know,
that's nice.
5 o'clock on Friday, 5 to 7, we come in here.
Right.
Right.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Yeah, that sounds great.
It's a good point.
That's gonna happen. It's just I had a long weekend of traveling. I told you about it, Scott.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get everything that I needed to get in place for the Mixcloud. But one last question before we go, and both of you guys answer separately. What do you tell a DJ who is just starting, they have no connections, and they want to get into this business? What do you tell that DJ?
Okay, if I can go first, what I would tell them is to hone and master your craft. Hone and master your craft. Too much today, I would tell him to concentrate on music, learn the fundamentals of beat matching so that you will know the music. I think that's so important today because so many DJs are or want to be so-called DJs. They're getting out here and they don't have the fundamentals of music, and they're playing and they're just they're mixing, they're computer mixing, and not having a thorough understanding of the music. I think that's so important today because once you master your craft, everything else will fall into place. I think that's so important to master the craft, to get out and hone your
Yeah,
skills. Hone your skills. Get out there, and then once you master your craft, you build confidence, and you'll be able to command the crowd. Because it's so accessible today, Harry, to buy equipment, to buy this, and the next thing you know, you're a DJ. You're a DJ. Your music, and you got the computer mixing for you. You're syncing your turntables, and you're a DJ. And you're a
All you
DJ.
need is a controller and one of these
Right,
with
right.
music,
And you're a DJ.
and you're a
I would
DJ.
say the fundamentals. Try to hone your craft. Get out there and just get out. And if you want to be a DJ, learn the fundamentals of music. Learn the beats. Learn scale, and hone your craft. That's so important. I see that's lost today. That's lost because now
absolutely.
you agree with me, Scott? You agree?
Absolutely. I agree 100%. What I would also say is is take some pride. Take some pride in uh, your music, the quality of music, your sound.
Hmm.
Take pride in even if you go to a party, how you look, how
So
you
true.
dress,
So
how
true.
look the part. You know, going out there with a t-shirt and your jeans sagging.
Nah.
That's not you.
Professional.
Don't walk into a wedding or sweet 16 like that. Walk in
Well,
like a
professional.
professional. Walk in like you are the uh, master
CEO of your business.
of your business. Absolutely.
CEO of your
Walk in
business.
like you are the owner. It could be a one man show. Take some pride. Uh, Go in there and listen to the client. Listen to what the client wants and uh, put put in the work. You're not going to look. You can have all the music in the world. You're not going to be able to go and rock a party without hours and hours of practice, understanding. Um, don't think it's all about the hottest song right now. The music has to flow a certain way. Take people up, bring them down. Take them up, bring them down, and just don't don't give up. You might not have a gig for 2 or 3 months, 6 months. Don't give up. Get your name out there. Stay positive. But the biggest thing is have some pride and look the part. Matter of fact, just before we go, I was at a party. I was doing a party once. I was bringing equipment in, and the lady asked me, "Is this the such and such party?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Okay," and she said, "So you're the DJ?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, you don't look like a DJ." Okay, what does that mean? What does a DJ look like?
What does a DJ look like?
So after the party was over, yeah, there you go. After the party was over, I made sure I followed her and I ran her down, and I says, "Well, do I look like the DJ now? Because I saw you dancing all night. So this is what a DJ looks like. So have some pride, dress the part, look professional, and and give it 100%. Give it
Right.
100% at every gig. Don't be discouraged. Listen, Gracie and I both know we've gone out to parties and we played the best music, the best sound, and people didn't dance.
That's true.
And that's heartbreaking.
That's
That
true.
is
That's so
heartbreaking.
true.
And no matter what you do, just chalk it up to, okay, I got to do it better next time. But
Stay positive. Right?
stay positive. Don't give up.
That's right.
Don't give up.
That's so true.
That's
Harry,
it.
I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for this format. Thank you for this program. It's been a pleasure. I hope that I can be a guest in the near future.
Yes, sir. I
this
was
is
going to
so.
ask you guys that, are you
Thank
willing to
you.
come back another time?
Yes, most
Absolutely.
definitely. Yes. Thank you,
Absolutely.
sir. Thank you.
No
And
problem. I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing some of your story. I know there's a million other stories in there,
hmm
but just
yeah,
giving us a general overview of you guys' career and then you guys syncing up and now playing together.
yeah,
Thank you much. And every DJ has a story.
hmm
A lot of our stories are similar. I started off with vinyl. I did this. I did this party. I went out to here. Now I turned digital, and I'm still doing my thing. But the individual stories in between. Have you guys been overseas DJing?
No, not myself.
no, not yet. I'm
Not
gonna say
every
that not
not
yet.
every
Right.
DJ gets that
hmm
opportunity.
Yeah,
hmm hmm
I'm with you guys. I
hmm
never DJ'd overseas,
hmm
but
hmm
I've had guests on that been to multiple places overseas.
hmm
It's just
nice.
like I said, every DJ has a story, and
hmm
I created this platform so they can tell their story.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Nice, nice. Well,
Beautiful.
definitely, Harry. I hope myself or Bracy didn't let you down. We really,
Yes.
we really appreciated,
Thank
uh,
you.
allowing us to come out and tell a story. And as you just said, yes, I can tell you a bunch of stories, man, from DJing one night at this club called Nels unexpectedly back in the day to um, DJing at parties where fights broke out in the crowd, and I just kept it moving. So,
Hmm.
um, this is something I think people should tune into and say, okay, these are not the Jazzy Jeffs or the
Everybody knows them already, but nobody
Right.
knows guys like us.
right.
That's right.
And
That's right.
we take pride in what we do, and we work just as hard.
40 plus years.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Yep. And
Right.
even to the fact where our families support us. My wife supported me when I said I'm going to go back and start DJing. My kids run around here. They touch everything in this house except my equipment. They know dad's equipment right here. Don't touch that right there.
No, that's a no.
You touch dad's shoes. We go in his closet, bother his clothes. But dad's downstairs DJing. They'll come down, they'll dance around, they go back upstairs. But this could stay out here all night. And guess what? It's gonna stay there all night. And not touch it. So, but we listen. Bracy and I go back a few years, and I told him I was going to do this, and he said, he'd be more than welcome, more than happy to join in, and we're glad. We're glad that I'm glad, Bracy. We're glad that you allowed this time, this short time for us to tell our story.
Yes,
That's it.
sir.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
you guys,
Look
hold
forward.
on. I'm gonna put you in the green room and close this thing out. Hold
All
on a
right. Great.
second.
All right.
And
Great.
thanks again.
Yep.
Anytime. Harry. Look
Anytime,
forward
brother.
to seeing you.
Anytime.
All right.
All right.
So once again, Harry the Big Dog with the DJ interview. We heard from veteran DJs today. We will be back again next week. Same time, Tuesday, 8-ish Eastern time. Until then,